Welcome, guys, to
Wait.
this... What? The fuck do you want, Taylor?
I'm not ready.
You're not ready?
Give me a second.
All right.
He needs to gird his loins.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
You can do that. Yeah, now you can go.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Right now. All right, guys. Welcome to this week's edition of the Player 6 podcast. I'm Braden. I'm hosting this week. We have the usual guys here, Eric, Mark, Ambrose, and Taylor. And we have a very special guest this week, Miss Chloe. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
First?
Yeah.
You're new. That's how this works.
On the spot.
So say your name and something. A fun quibble about you.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Do you not know your name? Oh.
I can't read either.
I can't.
I think that's the quibble.
God.
Chloe is illiterate. Aren't you a developer?
Alright, so a little bit about Chloe. She is Ambrose's current significant other, and she is currently going to the school that we all graduated from.
Nice.
Alright.
And we're also neighbors.
Ditto. Okay.
Good job, Chloe. Yeah.
So this week, just so you guys can get to know us a little bit better, we decided to do story times and pet peeves, things that really grind our gears. So, Eric, do you want to go ahead and start off with a story?
I was
You got-
not.
Are you not ready? Who's got a story?
I mean, don't you have a story?
Oh, well, I mean, I have a story. I guess I can start. So, we live in this really interesting part of the valley that we all live in Utah. It's very,
It's not ghetto, but
It's being rebuilt to be nice.
yeah, it's an older part of the city. There's a little bit of a drug problem sometimes. And so the other day I was working at my desk, getting some work done, and I stood up, and my office has a big window in it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna look out the window and take a break, relax. And we live on the second floor of our apartment building, and so I looked down and outside, and I was like, oh, that woman looks a little shady. Okay, I mean, I'm glad our building's locked off and stuff. And I was like, oh, she's pulling out a little bag. I wonder what that's in there, you know? The next thing I know, I was like, there's a spoon coming out and a lighter. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna do heroin.
And she did.
And she did. I'm like sitting here watching this woman inject heroin into her vein. And I'm like, well, you know, it's the first time for everything. And then she was with this guy, and he proceeded to take his shirt off. And I was like, oh, so I think they're gonna have sex now. And I immediately left my office. I went and told, I think, was Mark home?
I think all of us were.
Yeah, I think Mark, Eric, and Taylor were home. I walked into the other room, and I was like, yeah, so I just watched someone do heroin outside of our apartment building, and now I'm pretty sure she's prostituting. So I was like,
Let a woman live her life. That's all I
yeah.
gotta say.
I mean, I don't judge. But,
I mean, we do judge.
well,
I mean, I judge a lot.
yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure my second job is being a judge.
At a magic tournament, you nerd.
From the one who actually
Judge.
plays magic
Oh.
and is bad at it.
Oh.
He said, bitch.
Mark, how long have you been playing magic?
I wouldn't even consider myself like...
But you
I'm a
beat
super
Taylor, right? Point proven. Taylor's bad at magic.
Technically, yes.
Moving on.
Okay, Eric, fun fact, is a savage.
I tried.
I think, yeah. Ambrose, I think you had a great story from work this week.
As he smiles and tries to remember.
You said you were saving it for the situation. You dropped the ball.
God, no, what did
You forgot the
Shit.
only thing you brought to this podcast.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Alright,
you
I have a story to tell. So, me and my mother, you know, we're two peas in a pod, we're best friends. And what we like to do is make scenes in public as much as we can. So, we will shout or say things that are just out of the wall to try to get attention to ourselves, and we do it in public places, and it's pretty fun. So, one time we went grocery shopping, and when we're usually at Walmart, we try to make scenes as much as possible because fuck Walmart. And
That's a fair
I
point.
don't remember how it started, but we sassed each other, and it escalated from there. So it probably went along the lines of, you know, ma'am, you know, just saying ma'am, sir, and then she went along the lines of, why are you misbehaving? You know, why do you have to do this in public in the store? And I was like, well, maybe if you were a better parent, I wouldn't act like this. And she said, well, maybe if you took your medication, we wouldn't have this problem. And I was like, is that why Dad left? Oh my god. And then it just continued from there. And I swear to God, we had everybody in like 3 aisles hearing and listening to us. And then everybody in the aisle was looking at us. And it's super hard not to laugh and make eye contact with these people and continue on with this hilarious story. So that wasn't recent, but it's just something that
I was gonna say I have 2 questions.
Uh-huh.
First off, are you on that medication? and secondly, how old were you when this happened?
this is probably like 6 months ago.
Oh, so like
okay.
like 21 years old.
Yeah,
That's-
20, yeah.
Because like I was expecting like a 13-year-old Mark be like, start crying. It's like, why is that why Dad left? Just having this like a fake emotional breakdown in the middle of a Walmart.
No. When I was 13, I was coming out of the closet. I was dealing with emotional body issues and was nothing like with the personality. That
What kind of body issues?
When I was 13,
Wow.
it's like when I first started getting fat. Like when I was a little kid, I was super skinny, super like lanky and skinny up until like 13. You fuck. Taylor's like the smallest and skinniest person here.
Besides Chloe.
She's like,
Okay, how much do you two weigh?
Oh.
I don't
Are we
even
really?
know.
you
We
can't
don't
ask a
have
girl
scale.
her weight.
I'm asking her right
I mean,
now.
I would totally tell you, but we don't have a scale.
We're not doing that, but I could go get one.
I was gonna say we can make this happen. Let's embarrass everyone.
Mark, how uncomfortable were the people in the aisle? Because that would have been the hilarious part of
I
it.
just think they were utterly shocked that I said you were a bad mom. And then she said, well, why don't, like, you should just take your medication. And, we do these types of things often in public, and I got to the point where when I was in high school, my best friend Sean at the time, Shauna, fuck me. I didn't know she was at the store also, and she came up behind us and said, sir. And then we had this ma'am, sir shout off in the middle of the fucking store, which I highly recommend to everybody do because.
So that segues into a great story I have. So hanging out with Mark and living with Mark, I picked up on that ma'am, sir bullshit. And so my mom's this very like reserved woman and doesn't like attention drawn to her in public. And we were at the mall here in this big open courtyard with lots of people going to the Cheesecake Factory. And I was like, Mom, you want to see something funny? And she's like, I guess so. And so I just proceeded to yell, ma'am and sir, really loud until everyone was looking at us. To which she proceeded to slap me and grab my arm and drag me into the Cheesecake Factory.
Holy shit.
I think the best story where we do the ma'am and the sir thing is when I was with you, Eric, and Taylor, and I think it was just the 3 of us, and we were at a mall in Salt Lake. And
My old roommate.
yes.
That was all of us. That was literally all of us plus Jaime.
Plus Jaime?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were all walking, in the mall, just chilling. I don't remember what we were going to go do. I think we went to
GameStop.
GameStop.
Yeah.
And, I'm walking in the front of the group next to Taylor for some reason, and I see these women in front of us. And I'm like, this is a good opportune moment. So I yell, ma'am! And I look down immediately, and I can tell that these 2 women look behind and are looking straight at the group. And I'm looking down, I'm not paying attention, and everybody in the group's like fucking embarrassed. Like,
I'm pretty sure I actually yelled "fuck you" Mark, as soon as I saw them turn and just threw you under the bus.
And then the best thing apart that day is because Jaime started doing it as well, and
Yeah, that was like the first time he ever hung out with us.
he had no reservations. He just kept doing it.
That's when I learned not to try to make him awkward. Because I'm the type of person who will go out of their way to make other people feel awkward because I think it's hilarious because I'm an asshole. And like when people do it to me, like I just ruin their day because they realize they can't do that. But Jaime is on a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
That boy.
Well,
I swear to God.
When this man yelled, "Hold my pumpkin spice, bitch," at a FIFA soccer game on his PlayStation.
What are some other good quotes? It was
It is negative balls outside.
balls deep is the only deep.
The only deep is balls deep.
That's right. And
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
I mean, we
I mean, he had more.
Yeah.
Manos!
Man,
Yeah, he was.
He gets very upset.
He yells at FIFA on his PlayStation all the time.
Oh,
He should honestly just have a channel devoted to like watching him play.
I will
and
bring
check
him
FIFA.
on Player 6 and we will play a game of FIFA and we'll see who rages harder because both of us rage.
I think that'll be one of the highest viewed videos we ever have.
The fucking day that we actually were playing soccer, not like FIFA video game soccer,
Oh, yeah.
and he ran up to you and because you'd messed up and told you that you'd spilled the pumpkin spice.
I was handing them the pumpkin spice.
I was handing them the
Handing them the
pumpkin
pumpkin
spice.
I have no idea where that even came from. I think,
So
I think that it was just that time of year that Starbucks was selling pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah.
So he was just annoyed by the fact that like marketing was everywhere. So like he just yelled that because he was just had that pent up anger from
He was
Starbucks.
so mad. He's just like, hold my pumpkin spice, bitch.
But a lot louder, a lot deeper voice than
Yeah.
the others.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That man has no shame.
Yeah, that boy. I've never met a louder and just more booming individual than Jaime Herrera.
He is a gem, and that is for sure.
That
We all-
fucking tropical,
Hat.
whatever the fuck kind of hat he wears.
I was gonna
It's a bucket hat.
It's a bucket hat.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Bucket hat with
Palm trees
SpongeBob
on
and
it.
Patrick on it.
Yeah.
I don't have like.
It's
palm trees.
SpongeBob and fucking Patrick.
I must be thinking of a completely different.
I thought it was
yeah.
palm trees and shit, and then I was like, is this SpongeBob and Patrick? What the hell are you putting on your head, boy?
He also tried to put his very, very, very short hair in a man bun.
That was hot.
Oh,
Okay.
goodness
It
gracious.
looked like the little girl from fucking Despicable Me that's just like
Oh,
on the top of it.
He's gonna listen to this and be like, "Did I really look like that?"
Yes.
He's gonna do it again, go in the mirror, like, "Damn, they were right."
Damn, they were right.
So if you guys are hearing booms in the background, it is 4th of July, near-ish weekend.
This weekend, yeah.
And people are shooting off fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh, this podcast will actually go up on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Which means Happy Independence Day.
America!
Yay!
Blaze
Britain.
I think the podcast though now needs to hear a Taylor Boyd fashion story.
Oh man. Alright, I got one.
Oh shit.
So actually Ambrose was here for this one.
Oh god.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
That was good. It was good.
So we start working at this place. Okay, and we're a couple of developers and stuff. So we do some
Oh, God.
we do some computer shit. And so, we're interns. So, we're kind of not really too close with the teams at this new place, and we're off on a table all by our lonesome. So we got our headphones in, and we're typing away, and we're just working away and having a great old time. And both of our headphones are in. Ambrose is sitting right in front of me. And we're going ham, and all of a sudden we hear, I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? I look at Ambrose, and Ambrose looks at me like, do you hear that? And we both take our headphones out at the same time, and it's just loud. And we turn and look, and my boss at the time, for some godforsaken reason, was marching around the office with a didgeridoo. If you don't know what a didgeridoo is, it's an Australian instrument where they recycle their breathing and push air through a long tube that makes up noise, okay? And it's loud as shit, especially in this storefront, this empty storefront. So it echoed, and it was just the most surreal thing ever. We're a bunch of programmers, and this asshole comes out with a didgeridoo goddamn do.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of impressed with that definition of what the hell a didgeridoo is. I didn't know how to explain it.
Yeah, I was like, how do you explain how a didgeridoo works? Like, I
Only
was
Taylor
confused.
Boyd would know that it's an Australian instrument where you recycle your air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, recycle. Oh man, and you know who plays the didgeridoo?
Jaime.
Jaime.
Oh.
Jaime plays the didgeridoo.
It comes full circle now.
That boy taught me how to recycle my breathing.
That bitch would play a didgeridoo.
That sounds so dirty. I'm not gonna lie. Like that boy right there taught me how to recycle my breathing.
Like you know how to French inhale?
No,
Oh, that's right.
that?
You
I
don't
know the
vape,
French
bro.
inhale like we do.
Oh.
Cum does not count.
What?
Oh.
But it's cream filling.
Oh.
I'm so confused on how
I
that term.
don't even know what's happening.
Anyway, let's just bypass that. How do you French inhale?
The same way you recycle your breathing.
Well, explain how to.
Oh,
recycle
okay.
your
So
breathing.
you got smoke. It could be like vape, or it could be actual smoke from a cigarette, or like a cigar.
Hookah.
Whatever the fuck you're
Was
inhaling.
that why you blow it out your nose?
And so you suck in all the smoke, right? And instead of just blowing it out, you kind of like you clench your lips so that there's just a little opening, and you slowly push the smoke out with your tongue while breathing in through your nose. So the smoke comes in through your nose, and then you could just loop it constantly.
That's so weird.
It's interesting.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I feel like
Which is similar to
I can't
recycled
even do
breathing. So like, if you want to ever recycle breathe, you fill your mouth up with air, like in your cheeks, and then what you do is you use the muscles in your cheeks to push out the air slowly while breathing in your nose.
that's super interesting.
Taylor has really
I don't
in-depth
think I
knowledge
can, I
of
don't
what
think I
useless
can
things.
do that. Like, basically.
Yeah,
Like I feel like I would hyperventilate and pass out trying to do that.
it's a little rough, but it's kind of like a timing thing. You just got to get this.
It feels like that would be
smooth
something
flow.
you would do during like meditation.
Oh yeah, it could
I
help.
can see that.
Like you're just
Well,
sitting
It,
there.
it makes you focus. Like you gotta focus on doing the breathing because you're like multitasking with your head. It's
But meditation is more about taking the breathing like through.
No, I know, but like that just sounds like
How
one
do
of
you
those things
breathe through
because
your
you're so deeply.
Magic.
Isn't there an insect who does that? I'm pretty sure. I'm
Breathe
pretty
through
sure.
their feet.
Yeah,
Wait, you say an insect?
yeah. There's like a bug who like technically breathes through their feet. I don't
Yeah.
know which one that is though.
It's an
So-
Australian wasp with a miniature-sized
Foot-
didgeridoo.
Lives inside
Don't fish like breathe with their skin?
Gills.
gills.
Yeah.
Like they
Can
have.
can't they absorb oxygen?
Quiet from Metal Gear Solid 5 breathes through her skin.
Oh,
Right?
That's why she wears skimpy clothing.
I'm sure that's.
Oh wait, is
That is the actual reason.
You said Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yes.
Is that like the Phantom Pain one?
Yeah.
Oh, is that the okay? I know.
The
who you're talking-
quiet.
Is that the sniper one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The reason she wears skimpy clothing is because in the game she breathes through her skin.
Oh, well, the more you know.
Yeah, I thought it because people were like, "Why is this girl got skimpy clothing? Like, why does she have to do that?" And the guy was like,
Why not?
She breathes through her skin." And they're like, "That's fucking dumb. You made that up." No, it was in all of my Metal Gear Solids. Like, it's a thing. It fucking happens. So I can't win with you people. And then he stopped making Metal Gear Solid,
Oh,
and now he's making that one with Norman Reedus. Oh,
Death Stranding.
what was it? Death Stranding?
Death Stranding.
I'm not gonna lie, that looks pretty cool.
It looks very, like,
Spooky.
not Metal Gear Solid.
very out of there.
Spooky.
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 Oh.
Oh my god.
Chloe, do
Hey.
you have a story?
I mean,
How's the school? Is there any fun stories from the school?
Drug
Tell us
bus.
about how your cat gets stuck behind the dryer.
I don't know. He like when we first got the cats, they were like really scared to do anything, and then just like one morning, I woke up and there was like really loud meowing, but like it's kind of normal because one of our cats meows loud anyway. So I was like, oh, he's probably fine. Like I don't know. so I was just like doing the stuff that I do in the morning. And then, like, he was still doing it for, like, 5 minutes, and I was like, what is that noise, and where's, like, the cat? So I went in the laundry room, because that's where it sounded like he was, and then I was like, wow, I don't even see him, I don't know where he is, and I looked behind the dryer, and that's where he was, and I was like, I don't even know how you got there. I don't know.
Oh,
My favorite thing is that you sent pictures and it was just passed out in the sink.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
fucking dead.
Yeah, our cats are they're special. they're special cats.
Yeah, he likes to sit, like, on the kitchen cabinets, like, he'll get up there and just, like, sit there.
My old cat back home in Ohio used to do the same thing, but sucked because my mom's antique tin like boxes would be up there, and he would just not give a shit and knock them off.
have you figured out how to get them to, have they stopped being assholes and like kicking the litter everywhere, or is that
No,
still
no, that's still a thing. No, fuck those cats. Like, when we got the cats, I was like, cool. I put like, quite a bit of litter at the bottom to cover it up, and I was like, I don't know how much litter you're supposed to put in there. I feel like I put too little, in the beginning, and next thing I know, they like, whenever they like shit or pee in there or whatever, they like cover it up. But they kick the litter everywhere, and I'm like, okay, maybe there's not enough or whatever, they don't feel comfortable with something. So I put more litter in there, and now I had a giant, I had a fucking beach going on. So I mean, I don't know what they want from me.
Maybe you should get one of those litter boxes that's like covered, like a little house.
Oh,
and
no.
when they kick it, it like.
No, we
have
tried
it.
that. We tried that. I went to go clean the litter box a couple days later, and we had the little guard on the top of it, and the cat just shit on the guard.
That and they would kick it off. They would take the guard off the litter box.
Oh, that's
No,
so
I'm talking like
interesting.
it's like a little dog house basically.
Oh,
And
okay.
like they just crawl inside and do their business, and then that way if they like cover it up, it just stays in there.
Knowing our cats, they're gonna cover it up and shoot it out the door. That's all I need.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That explains why you were sweeping when we came over this morning.
Yeah, like I can't win with them. I don't know.
But you love them very much.
Yeah, except when he tries to paw my monitor. Like that pisses me off
Oh,
to
yeah,
no
you were
end.
talking about that the other day.
Yeah, like I have one of these like Samsung curved monitors, and you know it was kind of expensive, and like so I'm trying to take care of it. Whenever I get something new, like it's my baby, I take care of it for at least a good solid 3 months before I'm kind of like eh. But like this cat, he'll get up on my
Great
desk.
father figure.
Yeah, like
He's
3 months. I'm out. All right. But no, like the cat hops on my desk and he'll sit there and watch me like do whatever on the computer, and then eventually he'll see the mouse moving around. He'll get really interested in it, and he'll slowly creep towards the monitor. And the whole time I'm petting him, and normally when I pet him, he won't try to attack it. But one day, like I was petting him and I kind of looked to the side because I thought Chloe was walking by. And I look back at the monitor and he jumps up and just paws the shit out of it. And I'm like, no, why would you do that? So I immediately pick him up and throw him out of the room. Oh my god, never again. He's never allowed on my desk.
Well, he was.
Yeah, I know. Fuck that guy.
This is the same cat that hunts the other cat.
It's asserting its dominance.
But it's the little one.
That's why. It's little, so it's got to assert its dominance.
So it it hunts.
If he like hears the other cat coming around the corner, he'll like get already like squished down, so he's like really close to the floor, and like his ears are like freaking out, and he's like looking around, and as soon as the other one walks by, he'll like pounce on him, like just fucking like take him out, and the other one goes meow. Like he sounds so sad.
Do you? Okay, I have to ask because it's my fucking favorite thing that cats do is like they'll get themselves stuck in like a bag and panic and then like zoom around the apartment.
This has happened.
So I think we went shopping somewhere. We got paper bags for our groceries, and the cat at the time, I think this was the first time they've ever been introduced to a bag. So he's sitting there playing with it. He's like, runs, hits it a little bit, runs inside of it, makes a lot of noise and runs out, and then come back and do the same thing. Well, eventually, this was like at like 11 o'clock at night, and Chloe's trying to go to sleep in the bedroom, and I'm sitting out in the living room, playing some video games, and out of nowhere, like I just I hear him jump in the box or the bag, and then it's just this loud noise as he's running around the room with the bag like caught around his neck. So he looks like this giant, he looks like this turtle with like a super like tall shell, and he's running around and trying to get out of it, and like I'm like, oh my god, like. It's like midnight. What do you want? Like,
Oh my god.
Like so he like burst through it, got caught.
Yeah.
It was like
yeah, and pretty much just ran around, and then he tried to run between the table and the entertainment stand and got stuck. So I was sitting there trying to like get him out while he's trying to like squirm, like, oh no! Oh my god.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Meanwhile, Chloe's in the bedroom, like, what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on?
I came out and I was like, literally, what is happening? And the
Or-
cat
or
was like
the-
stuck between the stool and like the bar with the bag around his neck, like the handle, and he was just like looking at me like I don't
Someone
know.
save me, please.
or like if the cats hear anything going on like outside the window, because our bed is like right up against the window, they'll run onto the bed and jump up onto the headboard to look out the window. But the problem is they don't care if we're laying in the bed.
Yeah.
Like they'll jump on top of us and run over us to get to see out the window.
That's funny.
You have asshole cats.
Yeah, I know.
Most cats are assholes.
Oh, another thing, do they knock shit off?
No, the older one will like he likes to rub against things. So if we put stuff like on our kitchen counter, he'll rub against it till it falls off. So it's not like he looks at it and was like, "Fuck that." He'll be like, "Oh, this is nice. Yeah. Fuck you," and just knock it off. And I'm like,
Has he ever been doing that and you guys are watching him and he like knocks it off and then he just looks and he's like, well shit, like what am I just supposed to do now?
he'll go to the next thing on there and start rubbing against it.
That's great.
Yeah, I also found out that the older one likes to chase his tail. Like he was sitting on one of our bar stools, and like he was just laying out, and out of nowhere, he's like, I was looking at the TV, and then I hear this like scratching noise, and I'm like, don't tell me they're scratching my furniture again. I turn around, and he's like scratching the furniture, but trying to like claw at his tail, and then eventually he grabs it and starts biting it, and then lets go of it, and does the same thing again. Except this time he's going in circles, trying to like grab his tail while laying on the bar stool.
You should probably have them declawed if they're pawing your furniture.
Yeah.
I mean, our bed is like already destroyed. I don't know.
You guys
just bought that.
We
Yeah.
got this spray that is like supposed to keep cats from like scratching on stuff, but I hate the smell of it. It
I mean,
smells so
The
bad.
irony.
I was thinking about spraying it like in my office or whatever, so she can't go into it. I mean, I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Like Chloe can't go into your office.
Yeah.
Did you just put her desk next
Well,
to
this
yours?
was before, like when we first
Oh, okay.
found out she didn't like the spray.
Mm.
I was just gonna spray all of my shit so she can't touch it.
So like it worked for like a day, but then I can't stand the smell of it, so I don't want to.
Describe the smell.
It's like it's just I don't know. I just don't like it. It's like a weird, almost like plasticky, like burnt-ish
Oh,
smelling
that's-
thing. Like I
That's
don't know.
weird.
It's just
I mean, if it smelled like
it's
that,
I mean, if
Probably
I was a
not healthy
cat,
for the
I'd
cat.
probably hate that too.
Yeah.
If I was a cat, I'd hate everything.
I don't know. What do you think?
Because you're a cat.
I'm a
And you're supposed to hate everything.
When I'm trying to describe how something smells, I always like to describe it as it smells the way something tastes.
See, when I first ran across the situation, like I didn't know how to describe what that was, so I was like, yeah, you know, this thing kind of like smells exactly the way this thing tastes, and everybody looked at me like, what the hell are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know how to explain it.
You're like, it smells like seawater tastes. And you're like, it's
Salty.
exactly what like it.
it's salty.
Okay. So what do you think the spray smells like?
I don't even remember what it smells like, to be honest. Like it doesn't bother me. Like I'll smell it and then I'll be like, all right, this is cool, and then I don't know. I continue on with my day.
These fuckers that are sending off fireworks are really cramping our style.
I just like how it's not even nighttime yet.
Yeah, like, it's not even dark.
I mean, speaking
It's
of
like
you know of annoying you, is there anything that grinds your guys' gears?
Oh
man.
my god.
Oh well, shit.
I think Brayden has something already.
You know, people that bring all 8 of their fucking little Mormon devils to IKEA.
Alright, shots
Same.
fired.
Same.
Like, we went to IKEA today to get me a new desk, and Ambrose and Chloe got office furniture and shit, and there were like a 15 million fucking of these little demons running around, and they have a drop-off. Like, you can drop them off when you walk into IKEA, and they will watch them for you and feed them and entertain them.
I think that's called demon spawn.
Yeah. And like they just don't. The parents don't control them and shit. And you're like, oh, this is a really nice desk. And then you're getting clipped. And then like you hit one of them with your cart. And then it's, you know, your fault because you should have been watching where you were going.
Like,
Like,
were you
little-
not supposed to hit them? Because I'm pretty sure I hit one.
I think that's an
Yo, one
opportunity.
ran into my fists in my defense cage. Just like sprinting by, my hands are at my sides, and I'm like, my knuckles feel a little tense. And as I clench my fist, the kid just knocks himself the fuck out.
I think that's an opportunity to get some life points. You know, just hit a few. You know.
Yeah, like it's like when they're crossing the street and they're not in a crosswalk. It's 10,000 points.
You know, I've always wanted to like drive down the street and somebody walks on the sidewalk, just open my door and hit them. I feel like that would be
man.
so funny.
I feel that would be hilarious.
Oh my god, that reminds me of a really fucked up story my grandma told me.
Oh god.
I would love to share. So, my grandfather, lovely individual. I love him very much because he's my grandfather, but he's old and a prick. Like, there's no other way to
It's
describe
the
it.
best way I've ever heard someone describe their grandfather.
Like, he's just like, you know, the goddamn kids and their newfangled this and that, and, you know, super conservative, uptight asshole, right? Never did anything wrong, never did any pranks or any bullshit in high school, right? My grandma likes to tell me all the dirty details of all the bullshit he used to do.
Ooh.
And so he and his one friend had a car that had suicide doors. I don't know if you guys know what those are. They're the doors that open the opposite way the normal car doors do. And so they used to get these dogs to chase them while they were driving down the street. And then they'd swing the suicide door open and hit the dogs.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, that is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. And he gives me shit for like going to a party in high school. I'm like, at least I didn't abuse dogs, you cock.
Jeez.
Like,
I'm pretty sure back then that wasn't even illegal, though.
yeah, like I mean in the
I think animal
50s,
abuse was a
like
thing then.
There was one time like my grandpa was the type of guy that like you pissed him off, like you would know about it. And you know, I think I was like 13 at the time, and I was with my younger brother and sister, and we were visiting my grandparents. And you know, he told us, he was like, "All right, it's time to go to bed." And you know, we just ignored him. We kept doing what we were doing. And then so he eventually, I think it was like 1 a.m. when we woke him up, and he came back out, and he was like, "All right, you know, all of you outside." So you know, at like 2 in the morning or whatever, he had to stand outside for like an hour just to think about why the fuck we weren't going to sleep. And then he finally let us in at like 2 o'clock, and we went to sleep. And he woke me up at 5 o'clock to mow the lawn. That pissed me off so much. I hate being
That
woken up
sounds
in the
like
morning.
that sounds like exactly something my grandpa would do if my grandma wasn't around.
Yeah.
Like, because my grandma would kick his ass for being a dick, but like, if like she wasn't around, that's the type of shit he would do. Like, he's the grouchy old man that goes to bed at like 8 o'clock at night and eats dinner at 4, and then like if there's like the slightest bit of noise after like 7 p.m., he's calling the cops. Like,
Oh my god.
I aspire to be this man.
Mark's gonna be the epitome of the get off my lawn.
Get
Get
off
off my
Get off my lawn before I stick my cane in your ass.
God damn it, Luann.
Damn it, Luann.
Oh, actually, I have a story. I just now thought of it.
Is this the one you forgot?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Okay.
To be quite honest, I don't even know. But when I was, this is a while back, but I recently just saw like a Happy Gilmore movie, and I was like, oh shit, that's pretty cool. And I think my parents were like, cleaning out the garage, so me and my younger siblings were out in the front lawn. And instead of using a real golf ball, we found like wiffle balls or whatever. So we're using that so we didn't actually hit something and break it. And so I was telling my brother, I was like, oh, what, this is gonna be cool. Watch this. Actually, you should scoot back because I don't want to hit you. So he's like, all right, cool. So he scoots back, like he's a good distance from where the ball is. And so I get a running start and I go to swing. Like I missed the ball and I straight up just peg him right in the forehead.
Oh!
So I hit him with like a driver in the forehead.
Oh man!
Oh,
Like it wasn't like the driver slipped out of your hand. Like,
No,
you
it was
fully
straight up like
swung
it was
and
the
smacked
end,
out.
like the end of my swing hit him straight in the forehead, and so like it was like right between the eyes, and he had this giant like bulge going on for like the longest time.
That's amazing.
That's-
Yeah, I also found out from my dad that I tried to run my brother's head into a brick wall when I was younger. I don't remember that, but I mean, fun fact.
So
I
I just thought of something. So we were talking about the whole annoying children thing in stores. I think Eric has a hilarious story about that he should share.
Which one?
Where you got kicked out of the mall?
Oh, this one's good.
God damn it. Okay. I don't even remember why I was there.
You were getting food.
Oh yeah, it was like a lunch break. And so there was 3 of us. Was it just?
I wasn't there.
No, you guys were there. I went with other people, and like somehow I got separated, and we made the
Oh, was
idea
it you,
that
Kelsey?
yeah, it was you and Kelsey. So we got separated because I wanted Subway, which was on one end of the mall, and they wanted something else. I don't remember what it was. And instead, because this mall gets extremely busy during lunch, I said I'll just meet you guys back at the school because our school was only block-ish away.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I started to get in line for Subway, and I was super excited because I love Subway. And I know what I want every time because it's the best fucking thing, at least in my opinion, that I get there. And I tell them, and I'm like, hey, this is what I want. And as I'm looking at it, they're like, do you want this toasted? And I was like, no, because I hate toasted sandwiches. I don't know why, unless it's like a panini. Then it's supposed to be toasted, but Subway toasted's weird. Anyway, so I said no. They said okay, and then they put it in the fucking toaster.
Oh.
Yeah.
So at first, I'm like, I don't want to have them make a brand new sub. I'll deal with it. Like, it's not going to hinder me that much to eat a toasted sub. I just don't like them. Well, then they take it out. And they're like, oh, what veggies do you want on this? And I was like, oh, I want this, this, and this. And so they put all those things on it, and then for some reason thought that I said banana peppers.
Oh.
And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I despise banana peppers. So, again, trying to be a decent person, I didn't want to get upset, even though I was inside pissed off for no reason whatsoever, apparently. I was just like, fuck it, I'll pick them off when I get there. So, they wrap up the sub, and they're like, you want anything? I was like, yes. Can I get a medium Coke? Because at least that, you can't fuck up, right? You can't fuck up a soda fountain. And I didn't pay attention, and the guy gave me a Diet Coke.
Oh my
Oh, no.
god.
And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I fucking despise Diet Coke more than most things in this entire world. And I didn't realize that until I got, like, out the food court, like, outside of the food court. And I take a drink of it, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, in my head, I'm like, do I go back? Do I just flip the fuck out because that's the person that I, like, wanted to be that day for some reason? And I'm thinking to myself how shitty my day has gotten because it's lunch and I like, food is cool to me. I like food that tastes good. My food isn't going to taste good. My soda is fucking trash. Like, I was just upset. And as I'm walking, I get to this door that another person is coming through, and this man is a somewhat larger man, like not like a fat large, but like he kind of looked like he could have been a bodybuilder, but like wasn't like in his prime. Like he was just a bigger dude, and I see at the last second this thing that turned out to be a little girl come around him, and it turns out to be his daughter. And this girl couldn't have been more than 5, but like was probably around like 3, 4. Like she was able to walk and run, but like wasn't super coordinated. And she just smacks the fuck out of my knee with her face. Like just runs directly into the side of my kneecap, like the hardest part that you could possibly find.
That looks like a good part. I'm just
Smack.
And she just like does that and then falls down to her like her ass and like back and just starts like just screaming. And the dad didn't see that she ran into me and just turns around and is like, "You need to watch where the fuck you're going. You blah blah," just screaming at me. And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this right now. I have shitty food and even shittier drink. And I'm just not happy. And instead of like trying to be like, yeah, whatever, I'm sorry, and walk away like I did at Subway, I decided this is the perfect time to take out my frustration. And I told him, maybe you should watch where your demon is running around from, and then maybe you're going to end up with a black eye. And I didn't realize that there was a security guard right next to us. Like, not like directly next to us, but like just off a little bit. So he gets furious at me and is like drawing back like I thought that I was going to get hit and then that would have been awkward and, you know, all of that. And this security guard just comes up and is like, "You need to calm down. You need to leave." And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I need to leave? This motherfucker jumped in my shit for no reason. His girl bruised my knee. Fuck her face. Like, my knee hurt so bad. Like, it didn't actually hurt, but her skull was still like forming, so it was still like kind of soft.
So now it's dented.
Yeah, so her skull has a dent. But no, like I was just pissed at the security guard for being like, "You need to leave." When thinking back on it, I probably should have been like, "Yeah, you're right. I need to go eat this shitty food." So like I start flipping out about like, "Are you serious? Like you're gonna kick me out?" Like he was yelling at me. He started this whole shit, and like he's like, "Oh well, you just need to leave." And I was like, starts to like walk me out, and I was like, the second he grabs me, should I punch us? Like, is it okay to punch a mall cop? Like, I don't think so.
They're not real cops. Like.
True, but I also like going to this mall, so I decided that was like, not the best idea. So I got to be quote unquote escorted out of a mall in the town.
That reminds me of a story.
Yeah, like literally 90% of these remind me of my childhood.
I used to run into people's kneecaps for fun. Like,
No.
we like, "There's another one. It's time to take him down." It's like,
Because I remember you came back from this experience to the school,
yeah.
and you told us it all.
Yeah.
And we're all huddled around, and we listened to it. And I was pissed. I was like, this just happened, Eric? Did this seriously just fucking happen? Yeah, this just happened. I was like, I'm gonna go beat his fucking ass. So I grabbed my shit and I run out the door like I'm sprinting, and everyone's like, "Taylor, wait, don't fucking no, he's gone. He's out of here." And they all watched me from the window as I tried to run on the sidewalk, and I realized the sidewalk was closed. And I was like, I'll go fucking around. And so I'm still sprinting, and I run across the street, and I sprinted all the way down that street and ended up going to work, but I didn't talk to anybody until later that night. I texted everybody. I was like, "So, can someone maybe spot me bail?"
God.
Actually, I think I remember that because I was gonna come up to you. I was like, "Yeah, Taylor, you know, you're ready to go," and then you just fucking took off. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I guess I'll walk." All right.
I just had one of those weird like self-revelation type things about all of the shit that happened to me at that mall all involved little kids, and that sounds creepy, like outside of it, but like all of the fucked up shit that happens at that mall all involves small
It
small
really
children.
does.
Yeah.
The story you just told reminds me of how the mother had her child in her hand.
Oh, yeah,
and
she dropped her in the water.
She dropped her in the water.
Yeah, that was my favorite.
What the fuck? What?
Was there an alligator?
No,
It was City
no,
Creek.
no.
So there's a creek.
fishes.
There's a creek in this mall. Like it runs through the
Right.
mall, And apparently, Eric witnessed a mother drop her infant into the water.
So
What the fuck?
So the mall, you guys have all been there. So the mall is pretty long,
Right.
and there's a creek that runs all the way through. Well, we were on the side of the food court, but like not to the food court yet, so within where like a Macy's and shit is. And there's fish that like to gather around one of those bridges.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the mother was like, "Oh, look at the fish! Oh my god!" Showing this baby. Couldn't have been more than 2 years old. Like he or she, I'm not even sure because it was a baby. You can't really tell sometimes, right? They look like aliens. But
It was like at the wobbly head stage.
yeah, so that's the perfect way to describe it. This kid, this baby, was at the right age where his head was heavier than the rest of its body, and he couldn't control it. So like if this baby was like leaned to look up, it would fall back.
So like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
Oh my god.
So she's been over, not fully, but like kind of like, oh my god, look at the fish, and like holding the baby with her left arm and pointing with her right arm. And then she's like, oh, let's get closer, and she bends over.
Crikey.
The baby goes from like looking around to like, oh shit, I'm moving, and looks down, and then its big ass head comes out of like the mother's like grasp and she drops the baby into the water, into the creek. And everyone else was like, oh shit. And the mom was losing her shit, like freaking out. Like, I just dropped my newborn baby in the water and everyone is watching me. So she grabs the baby and screaming like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like the baby can understand it. And then she like brings it up out of the water and is like holding it up, almost Lion King style, like making sure it's okay. And everyone else is not making a sound, just watching this. And the baby had this look on its face of like staring at the mom of like, bitch, I trusted you. Like, you had one job, and that was to not drop me in the fucking water, and you did that.
The part that gets me about this is that the river that this happened in is like a foot deep.
Yeah.
And it's surrounded by rocks. Like,
Yeah.
straight up, like, this baby
And she
could have died.
dropped the baby.
Yeah.
Head first, like, straight in.
Oh
because
my God.
if you drop a baby like that, the only thing the gravity's going to catch is its head. Like, there's no way that baby not laying in the water would have survived.
That fucking... Oh my god, it's, again, you're right, the little kids. Because then, like, a week later...
Is this coming up to the mosh pit?
Yeah,
in
a week later,
playground?
the children moshed in the playground at the food
Are
court.
you? Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I texted this to
The
her.
fucking
Oh
playground?
my god.
Okay, so the food
okay,
court,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like these porcelain... Well, not porcelain, because that's expensive.
They're like plastic dinosaurs.
dinosaurs and like shit that like you can just turn your kids loose. It's literally like a pig pen for your children. Like it's fenced off.
Yeah.
Has like one entrance, and so like the parents just like take the kids' shoes off and kind of let them go in this like pen. But anyway, Eric was there getting food.
Yeah, another time in the food court, surprisingly. But this end of the mall is just hell for me, apparently. So I don't like large groups of people, right? I have that weird social anxiety thing of like, if I'm at a mall, it's usually either not by my will or really late or really early because I just don't like being around a lot of people. Well, I went at like the peak fucking time of lunch and didn't have that much time, so I'm like, shit, I just need to sit down and eat this. Like, I don't want to walk with it, don't want to be awkward. So the half of the mall that has like every one of the restaurants except for, again, Subway, was all like completely filled up. So it's like, shit, I'll walk over to this other side because on this other side, there's Subway, there's the children's play area, which is the Dino Town or whatever.
It's like it's a fucking pen. That's what it is.
It's a controlled pen that like parents can eat while their kids run around with other children and catch diseases.
Oh.
Because they're not vaccinated.
Yeah,
right?
because they're not vaccinated nowadays. Anyway, I go over there because it's quieter, surprisingly. So I'm sitting there, and I'm a couple tables away from that play area. And as I'm eating my food, I just noticed that shit's just getting super loud. And, like, all these kids are just kind of yelling, not really, like, screaming, but, like, making a lot of noise. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I can't see over the wall of this, play area. So I stand up. And I just see probably 20 to 40 children, all under the age of, like, 10. Just beating the shit out of each other. Like, straight up mosh pitting next to the wall of one of this pen. And I'm just, like, I'm confused. But I'm also intrigued, like, why are these kids beating up each other? It looked like there were, like, a gang of 7-year-olds and a gang of 8-year-olds, and they were just, like, fighting for the territory.
Like
thing,
West
right?
Side Story. Like
They came in snapping and shit, and they just started beating everyone.
They break into a song and dance too.
I wish. That would have been even better. But anyway, I'm witnessing this. And as I'm watching it, it took about 30 seconds. And then all the parents are like, shit, our children are beating each other up. We need to stop this. So they start, like, not even going through the entrance, like, hopping over the wall and like, grabbing their children, like, pulling them out, pulling other children off of their children. And there's probably all but, like, 5 of the kids have, like, been contained and quarantined and shit.
like detained.
Yeah. And, like, they're all good. The other 5 children are, like, stopping, you know, finding themselves kind of wondering what all is happening. And I noticed there's, like, the group of people that were by me watching this happen, like, what the fuck? And then there was this man on the other end of the pen with his phone videotaping that entire thing. And I'm like, holy shit, like, this dude has some balls, right? Like, this dude is not only videotaping children in a play area, but also if he had a kid in that, he was either, like, hoping his kid was going to win or hoping he was getting his ass kicked, one of the two. And turns out he had no kid at all in that playpen. But a father of one of the children, I'm not sure it was of one of the children in there, but it was a child within the play area. And he walks up and he just starts going off. You can't videotape our kids. I'm calling the fucking cops. Blah, blah, blah. Just going off. And this guy who was videotaping them goes, fuck that. This is going on World Star. And I don't know if the father didn't know what World Star was. For all I know, he could have thought that was like a child porn,
Yeah.
pedophile ring. I don't know. He just fucking went and smacked the dude's phone out of his hand.
Oh no.
Like, just straight up, like, upper hand or uppercut, but like full hand,
Like
just
palm.
smacked his phone.
Like Paul.
And it was almost slow motion, but this guy, like, looks at his phone that's flying and then just decks this dad and starts fighting outside of the pen. This is this dude and this father, like, these two guys going at it. And finally the security finally gets there and, like, pulls him off and shit. And then, like, the dude picks up his phone and walks away. And that's it. That's the story. Everyone else who was with me just went back eating their food.
Like,
That's happening again. All right,
I have
everybody,
like
go
50
back.
minutes till I have to be back.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Eric's security guard story reminded me of a couple of incidents that I had that were pretty back to back. So I'm a very, can I speak to your manager if I get, poor service or people have been fucking me because, like, I pay a lot of money to use services. And so the first part of this is, like, I'm going to get my passport renewed. I have to get it done so it doesn't expire because it's a bitch to get your passport back. And so I get online, I'm like, oh, this post office has a passport office. That's amazing. It's open from this time. It's open from 1 to 4, and I don't have class from 1 to 3. I have the application filled out. I just have to go have my picture taken and pay the money. So I get there, and it's 1 o'clock. There's a line of people, and I'm like, okay, whatever, expected that. And then it's like 1:10, and so I walk up to the counter. It's outside. I'm like, hey, is the passport lady coming back? And this girl's like, oh, I'll go find out. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks, So I get back in line, and then she comes back out, and she's, all attitude-y, and she's holding a Starbucks cup, and I'm like, oh, here we go. And so she's like, well, she just left for lunch, so she's not going to be back till 2. And I'm like, well, your website and your door there says that this is open from 1 to 4, and this lady behind me is like, yeah, it does. Like, you need to get somebody in there. Like, there's a line of people here. She's like, well, there's nothing I can do for you because no one else here can process passports but her. And I'm like, bullshit, because I've seen this guy that's working the counter in that office before when I've come to this post office before. And so I'm like, I know you have someone else and you need to get someone in there. Because this is ridiculous. I've scheduled this around my class. I've walked down here, and, like, I have the application for that. People schedule their day around this. And she's like, well, sir, if you're going to get confrontational, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And so I'm, like, thinking to myself, I'm like, really? Really? Okay. And I was like, well, I don't think it's a very good idea for me to get escorted out of a federal building by the police, but I am very upset, and I will be speaking to someone when I come back here tomorrow. And so that whole fiasco happens, and I get my passport renewed, and it's whatever. And, like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have been as angry as I was, but I was. But then, like, 3 weeks later, it's, like, holiday time. It's Christmas time. And I'm going to see Eric in Ohio, And I've been home with my family for Christmas. I'm going to see him for his birthday and New Year's and his family. And I'm, I get on my plane and, here, and I fly to Phoenix, and it's all good. And then I fly to Chicago. I'm sitting there, I'm at the American terminal. I'm like, cool, I got 8 hours. It's midnight. My flight leaves at 8 a.m. I'll just, hang out here, get some sleep, watch some Netflix. And I get up, and it's been snowing in Chicago. And I'm like, okay, my flight's canceled. Not a big deal, right? They rebook me. So no big deal. And no, the 1 to 11 gets canceled. And, I let Eric know. They rebook me. It's fine. They book me on a 4 o'clock flight. And they board us on the plane. And I'm excited because I finally, I've been here since midnight the night before. It's 4 o'clock. I'm finally getting on a plane. We sit on this plane for an hour and a half, at the gate. And, waiting to be de-iced. And they get us almost all the way de-iced. And then they tell us, well, we can't take off. The weather's too bad. You got to get off the plane. And so I'm pissed.
That would have pissed me the fuck.
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed. I just sat on the plane at a gate for an hour and a half, with nothing to do, no Wi-Fi, nothing. I'm sitting in this fucking little tiny-ass commuter CRJ 900 fucking pillbox of a plane.
Anyone knows what kind
It's a fucking... It's those tiny commercial aircraft that have 2 seats on the side and then 1 on the other, and they're super.
They're
and the
like a small jet. Type
and the engines are mounted to the fuselage of the plane.
They only go 2 states at a time.
Yeah, they're super small flights because I was just flying from Chicago to Dayton, so it's just 55-minute flight, and so I have my fucking carry-on and shit, and so I load all my shit up and I'm getting off the plane and I'm super aggravated. And the flight attendant was a sweetheart. She gave us snacks and drinks when she wasn't supposed to on the plane and stuff. She's like, here, take these. You've been on the plane forever. So I said thank you to her and the pilot, and I wasn't upset with them. So I get outside and I need to talk to a ticket agent. I have to see where I'm going next. Where's my next flight? So I get in line and get up to this counter, and she's like, I'm like, so you had me on standby for an 8 o'clock flight. If I didn't get on this flight, does that standby ticket still stand? And she's like, well, I don't know why you're asking me. And I'm like,
what is this bitch?
Sorry that you work here?
I'm like,
last time I checked, you're wearing a uniform, bitch.
Yeah, I'm like, you're standing at you're a ticket agent. I need to talk to you. And she's like, well, there's nothing I can do for you. And she rolls her eyes and turns around and walks away. And so I proceed to go off. And I just start yelling, ma'am, I need to speak to you. And I'm in an airport terminal, so that's never a good thing.
Along with, almost a million other people.
Yeah, one of the biggest airports in the nation. And I'm just going off. And this fucker, her manager, walks up and he does the whole sticks his hand out in front of him. Sir, you need to calm down, as if putting your palm in an angry customer's face has ever calmed them down, right? And I was like, she's refusing to help me. I need a question answered. And he's like, well, there's no need to get angry and upset. There's a lot of people here with a lot of canceled flights, and we're just doing our best. And I'm like, I understand that. But when your agent walks away from me and tells me there's nothing she can do, and she doesn't even direct me to where I need to go or anything, I'm pissed. And he's like, well, she's just had a really long day with all of this, all these flight cancellations. You need to go to one of the American Airlines customer service desks or call the 1-800 number on the back of your ticket, and they'll be able to assist you with your next flight. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, right? And so I go, and they're like, yeah, you're confirmed on the 8 o'clock flight. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm like, mind you, I've been in the Chicago airport for 22 hours. American Airlines hasn't given me a food voucher, a place to go shower, or anything, right? They're JetBlue and United and Delta are giving their passengers food vouchers and sending them to hotels and stuff, and I'm just stuck in this fucking terminal in Chicago. And so 8 o'clock rolls around, and our plane pulls up to the gate. It stopped snowing, and they de-ice it. And then we get up to the counter, and they're like, well, we're waiting for the crew. And I'm like, you're fucking what?
You fucking what, man?
Where the fuck did they go?
Yeah, I'm like, this airport is no one's left this airport in hours. The crew's gotta be here somewhere, right? And they're like, well, we're just waiting for the crew. And next thing I know, I look outside, and a plane had run off the runway. So they were basically telling us they were waiting for the crew, but in all actuality, a plane had slid off the runway. And so, like, no flights again were leaving.
Like crashed off.
Like, it was snowing really bad, and they lit,
God.
and they literally slid off the runway. Like, I looked outside, and I saw fire trucks and shit everywhere.
Oh my god.
And so I was like, great, I'm not getting out of here for another at least 2 hours. And by this point, Eric and his mom had been driving from Ohio towards Chicago. And they finally were just like, you know what, we're just going to drive to the airport and pick you up. So I walk up to the desk, and I'm like, cancel me on this flight, give me my seat somewhere else. And then I get to baggage claim.
Oh god.
Fucking baggage claim. And so they're like, it's going to be 2 to 4 hours for your bags, or we can just ship them to Dayton. And like, they were still like 3 hours out, so I was like, you know, just try to find my bags. If they don't make it, just send them to Dayton. I'll pick them up tomorrow. So I sit on a baggage carousel for the next 3 hours.
Oh my.
So mind you, at this point, I've been in the Chicago airport for 25 hours. It's 1:30 in the morning. I haven't slept. I haven't showered. I've been on airplanes. And like, it wouldn't have been that bad except for that one ticket agent. Like, the rest of the people at the airline were like dolls. Like, lady, the baggage check, she was like, cool, I'll do my best to find your bags. And like, flight attendant was super cool. And like, people on the phone were working really hard to make sure passengers had flights. And then this fucking lady just couldn't do her job for like 5 seconds and tell me that I just needed to call the 1-800 number or go to the customer service desk. That's all she had to tell me, and I would have went and done it. But instead, she had to tell me she couldn't help me, and just pissed me off.
I just want to point out how all of my stories and all the things that I've been, escorted out or, thrown out of, like, are Walmarts or malls or shit like that. But both of the times that Braden has been asked to leave or, like, almost threatened someone's life have always been, like, a federal building or an airport. Like, he could have been on a terrorist list, or, like, a watch list or something, or a no-fly list.
Like, I have no patience for that. Like, I'm paying like, $600-$700 to fly on your airline and use your service, and that's a bullshit like economy plus seat. Like, that's not even that comfortable. Like, I'm paying for that, and then I pay you a $25 baggage fee, and then it's like, you can't fucking help me. Like, I pay your paycheck, bitch. Like,
Damn.
like, it just pisses me off. It's like, it's like poor customer service. Like, it just infuriates me. It's like, I pay a lot of money for your service. I'm nothing but like respectful to you. I'm respectful to your employees. I chose your airline because it was, supposed to be quality and, a good fare.
Yeah, like speaking of airlines, I think after like all of my flying, the only airlines that I would fly on and like be happy about it would be Southwest or Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've like JetBlue, United, or like, have you ever flown on Spirit?
Have you been on?
Fuck those guys.
Have you been on Frontier?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah. I thought the plane was gonna fall apart.
Yes.
Like, that fucking like tray was loose, and I was like, oh, I'm dying today.
Like the engine's rattling, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. So one day I got a break from school, and I was gonna go home for the for like a 2-week break or whatever. And so I'm like I think my parents like booked the flights for me or whatever. So I was at the airport and I was waiting to get on the flight. And so I get on the flight and we fly from I can't remember where I flew to, but I think I flew to I think it was Vegas or something like that. But so I flew there and I was waiting to board for my next flight. I had like 2 hours for my my next flight. So I was like, all right, cool. I walked over to the gate. There's nobody there. So I was like, all right, cool. Still like an hour and a half. I'm just gonna chill, do my thing. So I was sitting there playing games on my phone or listening to music, and then before I know it, there's like 30 minutes before we're supposed to start boarding. There's nobody to be seen at this gate, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I'm like, so I start looking around. And I go up to the desk, and they're like, yeah, so your flight has been changed to this terminal on the other fucking side of the airport. So I'm like, God damn it! All right, I still have like 30 minutes. So it's like a 20-minute walk from this terminal all the way to the one where they said I'm supposed to be. And as soon as I get over there, they're like, I walk up to the gate and I was like, oh, is this flight for this, like, leaving or whatever? And they're like, oh, yeah, we call out your name, but, you didn't come in time, so, we gave the the seat to somebody else. And I was like, God damn it, like, I already hate dealing with, like, airports in the first place. Now, now I have to wait, 4 hours to, find a flight. And I'm the type of person that, like, I hate doing stuff that I've never done before. Like, if I have to drive somewhere and I've never been in this place before, like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm looking around trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go. Like, I double check my, GPS, 6 times before I do anything. And so I'm like, all right, now I have to go figure out how this standby. Yeah, the standby thing works. And I'm like, all right, cool. The guy was like, yeah, go talk to the lady at the desk, and we can get you sorted out. And I was like, all right, cool. So I talked to her, and she's like, yeah, so there's another flight that leaves for leaves for the same destination for you that leaves in about like an hour or whatever. We can put you on the will call or whatever for it, and when if no passenger show, we'll go down the list. We'll get you on the plane. And I was like, all right, cool. So it turns out that the gate that this next flight was leaving from was back where I started. So I walked all the way back over there, and I'm sitting there. I walked up to the desk. I'm like, yeah, I just want to make sure I'm on the will call. Like, I'm not sure how this works. And so she explains it to me, and I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? I'm gonna stand right in front of this fucking desk because I know they're gonna go down this list, and I better be the first one on this plane. And so they go through and start calling out names, and then eventually there's like 3 people that they start paging, and nobody shows up. And I'm like, all right, sweet. I'm pretty much guaranteed a spot in this plane. And then so eventually, before they start going on the will call list, like 2 of the passengers show up. So there's 1 seat on this plane, and they're like, "All right, cool, do the will call thing." So they start paging. They paged the first guy, and it was like 5 minutes, and the guy never showed up. And they're like, "All right, cool, the next one." And they announced the next one for like 30 seconds, and then they go down to me. They announce it to me, and I'm standing right at the desk, and I was like, "Yeah, that's me." They hand me the ticket. I when you walk in, and they scan your ticket over before you get on the runway or the jetway or whatever. So they scan my ticket. I'm walking. The guy whose seat I was taking just showed up, was like, hey, you're paging me, here I go. And they're like, oh, no, we can't let you on. We already scanned another passenger on, so now you have to wait. And I was like, bitch.
Oh! so you were that asshole to another guy by a margin of like 10 seconds.
Yeah, pretty much. It happened to me, so it happened to another guy. I at that
it's
point,
karma.
I didn't care because I was on the plane.
Like you were booking it, they're not taking me off this plane.
Yeah, I had just a smirk on my face as I was walking on the jetway, just not looking back. Fuck that guy. Holy shit.
I've had some really terrible airport experiences, but I've also had hilarious ones.
Oh my gosh. I know what's coming.
Which one do you think?
Is this Terry?
Oh my, yes, this is Terry. Terry, the Delta gate agent in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
So this is just a great series of stories. They connect, and it's great. So Eric and I are flying back from Chicago after seeing Chicago. Wow, Ohio. Wow.
You spent too much time in Chicago.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I did.
And I went and saw him, and we spent his birthday and New Year's with his family and stuff, and then we were flying back to come back to school. And so we were connecting through Minneapolis, like we normally do, because it's a great airport, always efficient. And
super beautiful.
Yeah.
Prettiest airport there is in the United States.
And our flight always leaves from the same gate. And so it happened before, and we got this really funny ticket agent, stereotypical Midwestern mom. Her name's Terry. She wears a turtleneck and short hair and the red lipstick, and it's great. She's great at her job, and she's hilarious. And she's a wonderful woman. This woman will never know the impact she's had on my life. And so we get there the second time. This the second year we're flying back from the holidays, and I look over at Eric and I'm like, "That's Terry. We had her last time." And he's like, "Oh fuck, it is." And so we're sitting there. So she starts calling stuff, and she's like, "Now boarding Delta flight, da 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 da." And if you we're a little short on cabin space, so if you want to bring your rollerboards up, we'll tag your bags and send them right on to your final destination. Don't you know? Typical
The most Minnesotan sentence ever heard in my entire life.
And so I'm dying, right? And I roll my fucking rollerboard up, and I'm take it, it's gonna. I don't want to carry it. And then this bitch is ahead of us in line, we're boarding the plane, and she's like, "Ma'am, you need to check that. It's not gonna fit in the overhead bin." And she's like, "It will. It fits every time. I have a short connection, and I just need everything in it." And she's like, "Well, prove to me it fits in the little measuring thing, right? Because they have the little measuring thing at the gate." She's like, it fits, I promise. And she's like, "Ma'am, I can't let you on the plane until you prove to me that it fits, because you're going to get on the plane, it's not going to fit. Then the flight attendant's going to have to bring it to, call me, and I'm going to have to come down and get the bag, and it's just a hassle, right?" She's like, "Fine." So she goes to shove it in the thing, and it doesn't fit. And so it just pisses her off. She's like, "Well, ma'am, I'll just go ahead and take that from you." And she snatches, the lady's rollerboard and tags it. And she's like, "Well, fine." And so she boards the plane, and Eric looks over at me and he's like, "Delta Justice." And I'm like, "Terry serves." We both die. We're sitting across from each other in the aisle on the plane, and we're fucking dying, right? And then the flight attendants start talking, and it's just the most hilarious thing, because the lead flight attendant is just this absolutely fabulous gentleman. and like
Homosexual as fuck.
yeah, like,
Oh, that's just that kind of fabulous.
Extremely gay.
like
Not in a bad way.
Like flamboyantly,
like
Yeah, like very stereotypical.
like he's
like,
got
voice and
like the very perfect hair and the perfect like flight attendant uniform, and like he's very serious about his job.
those fireworks, holy shit.
We have a hell of a view for this right
Yeah,
now.
we do.
There's like 3 shows going on all outside.
No,
Anyway.
now I
Must
gotta
be
get
nice
up.
to see that all.
Yeah.
Sorry, Taylor. You get the worst seat in the house.
I mean,
Anyway, so like that happens, and then his assistant flight attendant is another absolutely fabulous gentleman, and it's just great. They're having a grand old time, and they do the safety demo, and they shut the plane door, and there's like one empty seat on the plane, and it's next to me, and I'm like, holy shit, like this is a full flight, and one person didn't show up.
And I was super upset because I hate being in
Yeah.
a row of like more
Full.
than 2 people
Yeah.
in an airplane. I hate it.
And so like me and this guy are like, oh fuck yeah. And so like I slide my carry-on bag underneath there, and I have extra leg room, and he's like, he puts his like in the middle seat and like buckles it in so it doesn't fall around, and it's like great, right? We're like, and they're like, sorry folks, we're gonna have to open the door again to let a passenger on because his wife and infant have made it on the plane, but he didn't. And so-
Which is understandable.
yeah, which is understandable, right? And so like they let this guy on the plane, but they're like, the unfortunate part about that is we have to do the safety demonstration again.
God.
Which is the worst part about being on an airplane in the first place.
Honestly, I just put my headphones in and I just don't even listen to it. Like,
Which it was hilarious because we already been held up 15 minutes because the captain comes on. He's like, sorry folks, we're gonna be about 15 minutes because we're still trying to find about 5 passengers' bags down in the baggage room to go ahead and get them
man.
on this plane.
And I was just thinking the whole time, I swear to God, if my bag is not at baggage claim when we land, I'm gonna be pissed.
I watched mine go on the plane and I was like, I'm good.
this reminds me of that time that me and Amos were flying like somewhere, and like we got on a plane, and they were like, "Oh, the weather's too bad. The plane is too heavy. We have to like take some people off." And I was like, it was
What?
like.
That's
Like-
not possible.
They
Like,
were
No,
not
it
supposed to-
literally happened, and something happened before that, and I was really pissed off, and I was like, if you fucking take me off this plane, I'm gonna like kick somebody's ass. So I was like really mad, and I was like, I swear to God, I dare you.
I mean,
to
you're
come
like the
and tell
lightest
me.
person probably on the plane, so that wouldn't have.
I was like, I dare you to come and tell me to get off the plane. It's just not gonna happen, not today.
Chloe just
And, like,
Chloe just kicks the flight attendant's ass on the plane.
like she gets vicious. Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
and so they're like coming down the aisles, and they're like picking certain people, and I was like, woman, you just walk on past me. It's not gonna happen.
How
Like,
do you pick certain, like,
They picked
They-
literally
he's
the biggest
fat,
people.
he's
Is
fat,
that
he's
literally-
Yeah,
fat.
like, they
Oh,
picked
yeah.
the biggest people.
no,
What airline
they
was
picked
this?
like 2 girls
What?
and some
Okay.
guy.
It
What
was
kind of-
Alaska.
what
It was
kind of-
Alaska Airlines.
Alaskan Airlines?
What kind of plane was it?
It was
I
one of
don't
those with
know.
like the 2 propeller engines.
Oh, super old ones where the wings
that's-
like on
that
top of
makes
the
sense.
plane.
Yeah.
That's all about weight. So that actually is possible.
Yeah, but I was like, something happened before, and I think that we were late for something, or like
So
our
Chloe's
flight
just
got
freaking out
moved,
thinking
and I
that
was
she's
like,
gonna be off.
kick me off this plane, man. It's just not gonna
You're
be a
gonna
good
kick
day.
somebody's
Like,
I just love how this entire episode and in general in life, Chloe's very soft spoken,
Until
very
she gets
easygoing, and doesn't really talk, unless she just is super excited about something, or if she's just extremely pissed off.
Yeah.
Because then she's just loud, and I will fucking kill you. You
I
hear
will-
me? Like
I
that
was
type of
gonna
thing.
kick somebody's ass.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not a good thing on an airplane or in an airport. Like that gets
Yeah,
you
I
put on a
know.
list.
Braden and Chloe are going to be on the no-fly list in the next 5 years. Calling it right
Oh
now.
man.
So I mean, so speaking of airlines, when I was this was a different time when I was flying home for break from school,
God.
and like I think I was like 18 at the time or whatever, and I was on the plane going back to Utah, and this was a completely full flight. Like
seats.
it was one of those times because like normally I fly Southwest. And you're supposed to check in, within 24 hours, of boarding or whatever, so you get like the good like position number to go in and pick your seat.
Yeah.
So fun fact: if I'm flying on an airline that has an assigned seating, I'm always trying to rush to be the first one on the plane, even though I
You're
have
one
my
of
seats.
those assholes.
So even though I have my seat secured, like I don't know, but if I'm flying Southwest
'cause
where you
you-
have to pick your own
Yep,
seat,
you got
I
it.
don't even care anymore. Like
You are one of the people that I hate the most at airports.
I'm like,
yeah,
I have.
I got so mad. I was like, we literally already have seats. Why are you doing this?
Like, you know where you're gonna sit. It doesn't matter if you get there first or last, unless you're in like an aisle seat.
okay, so the thing that I'm worried about all the time, like I don't think it's necessarily like getting my seat. It's more of like I want to be able to put my bag in the overhead bin, like right next to me, not fucking 5 aisles away from me.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Okay,
So,
that's
like,
somewhat more understandable. But really, the first the first person doesn't really matter. As long as you're not literally the last person, you're usually fine.
yeah.
Yeah, but
The
so
last like 5 people.
so anyway, so I'm like 18. I'm like on this flight, and it was completely full flight. I forgot to check in, so I'm like boarding position like C-34, and I'm like the last person to board this fucking plane. So I get in, I find a spot to put my my bag, and I sit down, and I'm like the very last row, and like what is it like? I don't know what number it goes up to, like 25, like J or whatever.
Like
the
the
hell.
last row of the plane.
Yeah, the very last row of the plane, and I there was some guy who was sitting there, and I was like, all right, cool. He's sitting in the the aisle seat. I'm gonna sit by the window seat. I love the fucking window seats.
Same.
Like I look the window seats, and then the aisle seats. I fucking hate the middle.
Yeah,
like, I swear
Everyone
to
gets
God.
the middle.
But so I get in there and I sit in the window seat. And I'm sitting there. Okay, all right, cool. This is cool. And then they they announce like, hey, this is a full flight. If anybody wants to give up their seat or whatever, we'll give you a voucher and all this other shit. So I think the guy who came and sat in the middle, got up and left. And then there was like a flight attendant who I guess was like off duty or whatever. But he came and sat down in the middle seat. He's like, all right, cool. I'm sitting in the middle seat. Like as soon as we took off. You know how you take off and then it's like 20 minutes before they come give you drinks? Like, as soon as we were still like ascending into the air, and he was like, all right, you guys want anything to drink? And I was like, I like this guy. Like, this is good. And he was like, yeah, this guy was like, yeah, I'll have a Coke or whatever, or Sprite or something. And then he looks at me and he was like, what do you want? And I was like, I'll have a Coke. And he's like, yeah, you want anything else? And I was like, do I ask him for alcohol or not? I contemplated this for like a good 5 seconds before I opened the menu. I was like, yeah, give me a Jack. And he was like, all right, cool. Brought me the whole bottle, the whole can of Coke and a whole thing of Jack. And I was like, sweet. I mixed it and I drank it or whatever. And he went up to get himself another drink later on. And then he was like, do you want another Coke or Jack and Coke? And I was like, I don't know how far I can push this, so I'm going to stop while I'm ahead.
So you have drinking alcohol underage on an airplane.
On an American American airline.
Yeah.
Hella
Nice.
illegal.
Yeah.
You're probably the most illegal thing anyone here has ever done.
That
Probably.
Taylor and Chloe, you two.
Looking at you
I
two.
mean,
I mean,
Most illegal thing you've ever done. Go, Taylor. I'm looking at you.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
me?
Yeah, you.
bought alcohol. in Utah.
Illegal? Oh, well, I've purchased alcohol for you guys 3 times now.
Underage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, underage because I'm still.
So there's this weird loophole that we've been going through. Like, we will go to a restaurant, and as of recently, Braden's turned 21, but Eric and I would get an alcoholic beverage, and then Taylor would pay for the bill, but he's not 21, so it's just this weird loophole.
I can purchase alcohol.
Chloe, go.
Oh.
I stabbed a girl in kindergarten.
What?
Sweet semen of baby
With
Jesus.
what?
A pencil.
Like you
Okay.
Did it
Nice.
pierce-
Wait, what part of her body did you
in her
stab?
hand.
In her
Like
hand,
top of her
Did
hand?
it pierce the
Oh,
skin?
that's like the
Did
worst.
she bleed?
I don't know.
And she went to the hospital and never saw her
I
again.
think you repressed this memory because
So
I got in trouble.
Well, because I got in trouble with a cop once in high school because this is around the age where memes were getting kind of big, like the troll face and shit like that. And I had a buddy named David, and David he's a piece of shit, and I was a piece of shit with him. Like we were two shits in a pod, and so we were for some fucking reason we were like, parkour is so cool. Let's just go climb shit.
Said no one.
Okay. So we had this after school class, and it was 3D modeling. So we're total fucking nerds, and we also had D&D, and it was just like, how could these kids be any more fucking nerdy? Like this is too much. And we're climbing around in the school, and we find this drainage pipe for the gutter, and we're like, we can climb that. We can climb that. So we start to scale this thing, and we get onto the roof of the school. And it was kind of difficult because there's barbed wire at the top because they're like, kids are going to fucking climb this. But, we're skilled motherfuckers, so we got over the barbed wire. And our buddy Ray is at the bottom of the building with my phone. And we decided to sit on the ledge and dangle our feet off. And Ray's taking pictures of us. I probably have them somewhere. And the school cop decides to stroll on by, and he sees us. And he goes, what the fuck are you doing up there? Total, just like this really thick, Texan accent. I'm like, oh shit. So I'm like, all right, we're already fucked. So I wiggle my feet. I was like, oh, just hanging around. He starts laughing his ass off. He's like, get the fuck down. So we climb down. He goes, where are you supposed to be? Dungeons and Dragons Club. What the fuck are a couple of nerds doing on the top of the goddamn... Get the fuck back to your club. And we're like, yes, sir, you got it, sir. And we scurried back to D&D club.
God. Fucking...
Oh.
God.
So that kind of reminds me. So have you ever had those moments where you have like a best friend when you were younger and then he just immediately stabs you in the back?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was in elementary school and my friend had given me like one of my other friends had given me this pen and it was one of those pens that had like a little thing you push in the back and it was like an action figure / pen.
Yeah.
And, like the arms would come out and like punch shit. And I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. So I'm sitting in class and I'm playing with it. And, the teacher comes and, she takes it. She's like, oh, this is distracting. Takes it, puts it in her desk. And I was like, goddamn. I was kind of pissed off. I was like, that's my pen. What the fuck am I going to use now? If you want me to take your goddamn test, I ain't got anything to write with. And so, she was like, all right, cool. And now everybody come over here. We're going to do, like, our, like, show and tell presentations and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, cool. I got this. So she got up and she walked. So the front of the room was, like, on the right side. Like, it was a big rectangle or whatever. Her office or desk area was on the right side, and we were all going to the left side of the room for these presentations. So I got up and I took the long way around all the way by where her desk is. I opened the drawer, I found the pen, so I grabbed it, right, put it in my pocket. I walked over. We had the presentations like normal, totally fine. Then afterwards, we're going to recess, and I looked at my best friend at the time, and I was like, "Dude, check this out! I got the pen back." And he was like, "Oh, you took it from her desk?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, man! Look at this! It's a fucking pen." And I started playing with the punch and shit. And then we get back to class, and the teacher walks up to me and is like, Ambrose, did you take the pen out of my desk? And I was like, you fucking... Like, I was staring daggers at this man. I was like, you son of a bitch. Like, you sold me out. So I never talked to him again. Never again. That pissed me off.
That's insane.
That fucking reminds me. So, my aunt is a high school teacher. At this kind of rough high school in Nevada. And so they have a school cop. And he's a big Samoan man, and his name is Chukumba Jones.
Oh my God.
And
They
so
call him Chuck.
They call him Chuck. And so he's this big badass school cop because like they need one. And so he's got he's fully armed, like taser and handgun.
Damn.
Wow.
And so this couple had just broken up. And they were in the hallway and they're kind of getting into it. And then the ex-boyfriend pulls a butcher knife out of his bag.
What the fuck?
And just
Straight out of Chloe's kindergarten class.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, I don't know how much stuff I'm allowed to talk about. Like, can I go?
Talk about whatever you want.
Yeah. But this fucker goes, "I'll cut you, bitch," and like psycho lifts it up in the air and like starts to go at this girl. And Chuck is standing there, and so Chuck basically goes, "Oh fuck no." And he grabs the kid, like, around him, and is like, "Get on the ground, drop the knife, get on the ground." And he goes to stab Chuck. And so Chuck reaches back, grabs his taser, sticks him in the ribs with the taser,
Oh my God.
drops the kid, and then draws his handgun, pointing at him, "Stay on the ground!" And, like, this is happening in, like, the middle of the day, like, at this high school.
Just another
So-
day in American high school.
Yeah. So fun fact: when I was in middle school and I was kind of getting ready to go into high school, there was this high school that was pretty much just it was full of fights and stuff like that. My mom didn't like, and she was like, "Yeah, you're not going to go there. You're going to go to this other school." But I was with my cousin at the time, and she had to go pick up something from the school. So we went to the school and we walk around, and she was walking to her class or whatever, and so I was walking with her. And the one time I visited the school, there was a fucking riot that went on between like the Mexicans and the blacks, and they started going at it, and I was like, holy shit, like what?
Damn.
Did they have to call like riot police, like lots of police show
No,
up?
I think that's when we left, but like the police started showing up, and I was
I
like,
would hope that's what you.
I was like, fuck that.
If I go up to a school that I'm thinking about visiting and there is an actual race riot happening outside of the school, I'm pretty sure that one is just
it was like the most like surreal moment because like at first I didn't realize what was going on because there's loads of people just running around this corner where everybody was like kind of like conjugating it, and like all I saw was just like a flood of people going into this place, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And you see them like fighting each other, and I was like, you know what? On second thought, I don't want to go here. Fuck that.
We had fights at my school at the time. There was just one. I'll instinctively remember it because we're all just having lunch, and all of a sudden it's just waves of people all running in the same place, and everybody knows, something's going the fuck down. And so we're right by where it happened, and apparently this one bitch was getting hyped up because she was gonna go and beat this other girl's ass. And so everybody's all hyped. Everybody's like running behind her like, oh yeah. And so we're like, what the fuck's going on? So we all turn around. It's happening right behind us. And they're sitting at these tables, and the tables are like, the benches are attached to the table. We're all outside. And this bitch is just sitting down at this table eating lunch with her friends. And so oh my god, she was so butch too. Like, she was just a big bitch. She stomps up to her, and with no hesitation, doesn't even want to like talk to her first, just grabs her by the hair and rips her out of the table. She lands on her back, like I think her head hit the fucking concrete. She crawls on top of her and just starts wailing on her, like, just fists in fucking face. And we're watching it. It was like in slow motion. It was just like, whoop, pa, 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 pa.
Oh, shit.
Like, holy fuck. And so then the security motherfucker at the school comes over, rips the bitch off, and then, another lady comes and grabs the poor defenseless girl on the ground, just crying and bloody and shit, and they drag him away. And everybody's surrounded like, yeah, losing their fucking minds because it's a high school, and apparently, like,
it's cool.
Oh my god, it was the shit. It was like, my money's on that one. And it was all over the place. So everybody clears out. And we see on the ground that this bitch had ripped this girl's hair out with chunks of skin at the end of the hair.
Holy
damn.
We were like, holy fuck. And so then for the rest of that day, me and my buddy Ezekiel would start sprinting across the campus, screaming, fight! And we got like herds of people, because after that one fight, everybody was ready for more. And so we got and then they had to make like an announcement. Any false accusations of a fight breaking out in school will result in immediate expulsion. Me and Ezekiel were like, oh, yeah, whoever's doing that needs to really fucking stop. It's fucking terrible. Boom. Got away with it. Oh, it was the best.
I have to tell this because it's one of the fucking funniest things that's ever happened to me. Like, all these stories, Chloe's kindergarten story, everything is reminding me of this. My senior year in high school, I had a free period, and I was a student aide in the kindergarten classroom. And there was this little boy named Vladimir.
He stabs him.
And he liked to fight a lot.
Like most little children.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one day I look over, and he's got, I can't remember the other kid's name, by the head, and there's a drinking fountain in this kindergarten classroom. And he's repeatedly banging this child's head into the water fountain.
What the fuck?
And so I stand up, bang my knees on the table, because it's a fucking kindergarten table, so it's like 2 inches off the ground. Like, bang my knees on the table, launch the chair behind me. Me and Mrs. Rodriguez, the teacher, like, running over there. She picks Vladimir up, and he's like kicking and screaming and like punching her. And this other kid is like bloody and like basically dazed because like he's had his head beat against a metal water fountain. And so I'm like, I pick him up. I'm carrying him to the nurse's office. Like, we need to call his parents and possibly an ambulance. And like, there's blood on the carpet, and there's like blood all over the drinking fountain. And Vladimir's like freaking out. And we get him to the office, and the principal's like, basically, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're in kindergarten. And then he proceeds to take off onto the playground. Like, he bursts out of the office, out of the building, onto the playground, is running from the principal and his teacher after he's beat the shit out of this kid. And he's like 5.
He's a felon.
And so, like, they call his grandmother, who teaches at the school. And she's like 3rd degree black belt, teaches like martial arts self-defense classes. And so she gets out on the playground. She runs out there and picks the little bastard up, smacks him on the ass, and hauls him into the office and starts chewing his ass in the office. And like the other kindergarten teacher's watching both classes, and like there's like blood on the floor and like on the drinking fountain, and this kid's got the hell beat out of him, probably has a concussion, like he's missing a tooth. And I'm like, this is fucking kindergarten. Like, what are you gonna be when you're older? Like, you just beat a kid's head in because he cut you in life.
Chloe's over here like, that's me.
Like, just just repeatedly into this fucking metal drinking fountain. I'm like, you're a 5-year-old like child. What are you doing? Why are you like? You could have killed this kid. Like, oh my.
Chloe, do you have a story?
No, I mean just that
Oh.
kid was gonna be me. Like,
Mark, you've been pretty quiet. Do you have any stories you want to share?
You know, I haven't had any stories where I've been escorted or really I've had an issue.
Not yet.
And, I've come to the conclusion that, wow, I'm just a pleasant person and I hang around with dicks. No, just kidding.
I think that's a fair assumption.
That's a fair assumption.
I mean,
Okay. Maybe it doesn't have to be like a dick. Maybe it could be like that time Eric came into the apartment. And I was like, Eric, I found a porn. Want to watch it?
That's true. That was the third day we were in this apartment.
Oh,
I guess I could talk about a fun thing that I had to deal with when I worked at the school.
Oh God, me and Taylor worked with you.
So I had worked as a resident advisor for the school. And, you know, being an RA, that's not particularly fun because you have to deal with shits. And they're not necessarily clean or follow the rules. And, you know, I didn't particularly care about a lot of the rules because, you know, kids are going to be kids. They're going to drink and I don't give a shit. Because I drank in student housing.
And didn't give
As an RA.
As an RA.
Mike, if you listen to this, we're not sorry.
Oh, I was plastered the night.
I was sitting in my apartment enjoying myself, and one of my roommates, he turned around and he was noticing that there was a noise outside the apartment door. And I turned around and I started listening to it, and I was like, there's a lot of noise going on outside the door. So I look in the peephole, and there's police. There's police dealing with the residents across the hall, which were student housing people that I was responsible for. So I was like, shit. So I opened the door, I introduced myself, and I see a student in handcuffs being carried away by the police. And that was just wow. And then another student who is shirtless is babbling. He's not making any sense. He's saying that one of the teachers at the school was arresting him. It was hilarious, and two, like, he was sad. He was babbling, and come to find out that two of these students had done acid. It was a bad acid trip, and the reason why the cops were called is because the one roommate had called the cops because he was nervous about the well-being, like they were having a bad trip. He doesn't know if they were going to be okay, so he called the cops, which thankfully was a good thing because these students needed to be taken care of. And fortunately, there's a law in the state that we're in that will prevent. As long as you call the cops and report that people are having a bad trip and they're sick and they're doing drugs, you will not get arrested for reporting it.
Yeah, it's like Good Samaritan law. Like, as long as it's only like if you're at a party and people are gonna get hurt, like they want you to call. They would rather people be okay.
Yeah,
and that's really cool.
So I'm talking to the student who called the cops, and he's just upset. And, I can see why. Because it's a scary fucking situation. There's police here. These two students are having a bad trip. They were taken to the hospital. So I'm like, you know what? I should call my boss.
Probably a good idea.
I called him. He was sleeping. And for about the first 15 seconds of our phone call, he didn't understand a word I said. And then, he kind of woke up and he was like, oh, shit, I'll be there as soon as possible. Fortunately, he didn't live too far away. So he came over. And I called my partner RA, which was Taylor at the time, and he came down, and I mean, us as RAs really couldn't do much. It was just the police dealing with the situation until our boss came in.
Yep.
It was really funny because the police got there and they were investigating the entire apartment. It didn't look good because some shit happened, and they bring out this box, which was found in the living room. And this is my favorite part of the story. So they bring out this box, and they start going through it, and they're pulling out pipes and bongs and hookahs and drug paraphernalia for marijuana. There was marijuana in the apartment.
There's like oxycodone in there.
Yeah, there's pills.
There was a whole bunch of shit. And there was this one cop in particular who was pulling out this shit, and he was like, oh, nice. Oh, and he pulls out the oh, this is awesome. And they actually had some really cool bongs in there. I was like, wow, these students spent a lot of fucking money.
And it's all getting taken.
Oh yeah, it was all taken by the police.
I feel like that's why he was upset. He wasn't upset that his friends were on acid.
Like, shit,
He was
my
upset
stuff.
It was funny
that his
'cause
entire operation had just been completely shit on.
he had to sit there and watch the cop do it, and the cop would pull out, and he's like, "Oh, what is this hand blown? Wow, oh man, the craftsmanship is just really nice." Or, that's clever. That's clever. That okay, you know what? That's cool. That's cool. I understand why you got that one. And then so all these massive bongs, and then he pulls out this box. He's like, "What's in this box?" and the poor guy's like, I don't know. That one's not mine. That big one's mine. I paid a lot for that one." He's like, okay. So he opens the box, and there's just this tiny little pipe in it. He's like, "So why go through the trouble of putting this pipe in this box and concealing it or whatever, when this box has all of the? I just don't understand why'd you try hiding this in the box of goods?" And you know what? I'll never understand you guys. And he just keeps going through.
Didn't they walk out of that single apartment with like 3 huge
Trash
trash
bags.
bags.
Yeah.
Full of drug paraphernalia.
I
Oh
want
my
to say
God.
that there's a lot of
lot of paraphernalia.
Yeah,
the
there-
face of my boss was fantastic.
My
Just watching the police deal with the students, the apartments, and this drug paraphernalia. It was one of the highlights of being an RA. And I think it was like during one of the first few weeks that I had become an RA.
Oh, you had
Yeah.
just started.
I had
Oh,
just
that's
started,
right.
which was so great.
My favorite part of that story is so we had 3 housing buildings, and so I was an RA at like basically headquarters where we kept all the files and student information and stuff. And so my phone starts ringing, and I happen to be over at Taylor's hanging out that night. My phone starts ringing, and I'm like, it's Mark. I'm like, it's like 1:30 in the morning. And I'm like, what's up, Mark? Why are you calling me so late? What's wrong? And he's like, well, I need you to bring emergency information for these students. I was like, well, I'm already. He's like, well, you know. You know,
We'll bleep that out.
Yeah. It's the housing facility
Yeah.
at our university. It's not like it's gonna matter. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm already there, and he's like, crap. Well, the other RA, Kelsey, that worked at the head building wasn't home, and so I go back over there and I get the stuff, and I come back, and I show up, and like Mark was saying, like I hand our boss the
Emergency
paper.
contact information.
Yeah, and the look on his face. It's late. He's been asleep, and he was just infuriated.
Oh
Like,
man, like poking this man with a needle probably would have made things a little funnier.
yeah.
Just like prick him right in the ass, like.
So that's one of the funny stories I have. There's quite a few other funny stories about being an RA. Because
Yeah, it's if you ever get the opportunity, guys, like if it may be like shitty at times being an RA, but it's seriously one of the most like enlightening experiences, and like you'll have so many funny stories and so many great experiences. Like school would have been super boring without being an RA.
Honestly,
Like,
So
I have-
I
go ahead, Edward.
okay, I was gonna say because I thought during this whole course of stories, I realized that I have 3 kind of funny stories. 2 of them which pertain around school. But I'll read you the short little description I wrote down here, and you let me know which one you want to hear.
oh,
Okay, so the first one was when I brought a porno to school. The second one was when I beat up my bully in middle school. And the third one was when I saved my brother and almost got charged for
I
battery.
think you should talk about the
Horror.
arson.
I think you should talk about the arson. That's what you should
Oh, that one. Okay. So this, I was an RA, same with Braden, Taylor, and Mark here. Except for I was RA of a building, like the head RA of the building that they weren't in. So the third housing location, and I'm sitting there minding my day. It was a weekend, like I think like a Saturday or Sunday. I'm sitting there hanging out, just relaxing, and a student comes up and knocks on the door. Is like, hey, I need to report, like a fire, an arson report. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on? What? Like, why would you come to me? Like, if there's a fire, why don't you call 911? Like, first of all, and I was like, but I didn't actually say that to him. I was like, okay, like what happened? Like, tell me more. And he was like, oh, the student in my apartment, like he just snapped and set this other guy's coat on fire in the middle of the apartment. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, he was like, yeah, like he set it on fire and just kind of walked away. And I was like, holy shit! Like that's oh my god. So I go over there and like the whole apartment just smells terrible. Like the fun fact is like the entryway of the apartment was kind of like this like tile-ish thing.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the apartment was straight up carpet. And this jacket he set on fire was like a good 6 inches away from the carpet, so it could have set the whole building on fire, which is awkward because it was an apartment building with at least 100 other
It was a pretty good sized apartment.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was a decent sized apartment building. So this could have been straight up arson, negligent murder or whatever the hell you want to call it. Like this could have been bad. But thankfully, nothing caught on fire, just burnt the wall and the tile a little bit. But we walk in there, and we're trying to figure out what happened, and I'm not shitting you. This is what the student said. We're like, why did you set the jacket on fire? He was like, well, that guy took my chair and didn't give it back. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, I'm gonna take your spoon and not give it back, and I'm not gonna have an apartment to go home to. Like, oh my god.
That kid doesn't fuck around,
Yeah, I know.
That's
Like,
why I stabbed the girl. She took my colored pencil and wouldn't give it to me, and
So
I
you made
stabbed
sure
her.
that the second colored pencil was gonna stay with her. For life.
oh
my
my
favorite
god.
was the way you reported it to our boss when you called her.
Oh, my god.
When you're like, I need you to come down here because there may have been an arson.
may or may not have
Yeah,
been.
like at the time,
I'll
like
let you decide.
I'm not gonna lie. At the time, like I didn't realize, like I knew it was a serious situation, but I didn't like know like every like federal violation that that could have just happened right there.
Yeah.
And like I called my boss and I was like, yeah, I don't know how to explain this, but there was like arson or something. You probably should just come down here. So my boss shows up and was like, "What is going on?" And I explained the situation. She was like, "Oh my god." So she talks to the student and was like, "Yeah, you could have burned down the apartment, and because there's other people in the apartment, like that's even worse from you." And like, it was just a really bad situation. Like honestly, I couldn't believe it happened because he took his chair and wouldn't give him back. Like that was the whole basis of this fire.
That's insane.
Like.
So the last story that Mark told reminded me of a story I don't think I've told anyone here, but it does involve cops and drug paraphernalia.
Ooh.
Oh.
Is it
got shot at?
Is it about
No,
your
no,
parents?
no, no. We're not going to talk about
Does
that.
it involve your parents?
Yes, it involves my parents.
Okay.
So for those of you who do not know, both of my parents back home are police officers. And one of them is a police officer in my hometown, and then the other one is like the town over. And every day for a while, after school, I would go hang out in the police department that my mother worked in. And my mother worked on the day shift team with another partner, or her partner, I guess, who had one of the drug dogs. And this drug dog was like a beautiful big dog, right? And like super friendly dog. Like you wouldn't know that it was a police dog because most police dogs are like super like focused and shit. Like they won't let people pet them and stuff.
Before you continue with the story,
Yes.
if your parents ever listen to this, are you sure you want them to hear?
Oh, they
this
know.
next
My
episode?
mom was in the story, so I'm sure she knows.
I mean, hopefully. Like,
Yeah, unless she just forgot, then fuck me, right? But anyway, this dog would like come over to me and just like let me play with him, and like I'd sit on the floor in the police office and just play with the dog. And my mom's like, I was asking my mom, what does a police dog do? And she's like, oh, well they sniff drugs. And I'm like, well that makes sense. I mean, I can sniff drugs too. You want to hire me type thing? But anyway. Like, I asked her to explain it, so she goes, okay, and she grabs my backpack, and she takes it across the office, and she sets it on the floor, and then she gives the dog the command to search for drugs, which I don't remember because it's in German. But anyway,
that's sweet.
the dog starts running around, sniffing the floor, gets to my book bag, and sits down, which apparently
This is
is
a signal.
is the
Yeah.
signal in police dog like community of there's fucking drugs in front of me.
It's because like with bomb dogs, they don't want to panic people.
Yeah, so they don't like bark. They don't. Some of them will scratch if they're taught to do that. But this dog just sat down and looks at whatever officer gives him the command.
Oh my god.
And so this dog sits down in front of my book bag, looks at my mother, and it was like a chain of events because my mom just looks at me and it's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I just give her this look of like, "That's fucking weird. I don't know why you're doing that."
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why. And she's like, okay, let's test this again. So then she goes on the other end of the office, puts the bag down, gives the dog a command. Dog does it again.
Oh!
And she looks at me and she's like, now I'll give it the real test. Takes the book bag. She goes outside, like in this like courtyard area beside the police department, puts it down, gives the dog the command. The dog goes around the entire fucking courtyard, sits down in front of my bag.
Oh!
And my mom's like, do I need to open this? And I'm like, Mom, I promise you, if you open that, you're not going to find anything other than my schoolwork. And she's like, okay, I'll test the car.
Oh.
So she goes to the parking lot and like goes around my car, and she gives the command of like a car search, which is like the dog goes around the car, and if the dog thinks there's something, they'll sit down. And it just starts running around the car, and then the dog's just like, yeah, nothing here, I don't know. And my mom was like, okay, I believe you. And that was it.
She didn't even bother to open your bag?
Nope.
Oh, well.
Was there
Can
was
I-
there goods in the bag?
There was not.
That is so
However,
interesting.
the next week at school, during the search of the school where they bring the drug dogs in,
Mhm.
or drug dogs in, the locker next to mine was picked.
Ah!
So whoever was next to me in the locker, I never known this, like, don't know this kid at all, totally had drugs in the locker the entire time.
Oh my god.
Oh.
I mean,
So interesting.
so speaking of locker rooms, back in middle school, this kind of goes back
Is
to
this
like
gonna be like a sexual thing?
no. No, this is back when I guess like when I had a bully picking on me, right? And so
Okay.
we were getting ready for PE. We all lined up before we go in the locker room to change into our PE outfits, to go do whatever the fuck. And so, we're walking down, and this kid, like I don't know, I was kind of shy, back then, I was kind of timid or whatever. And he would walk by me and shoulder check me, get out of my way. And I'm like, okay, fuck, okay, you do your own thing. And I was sitting there getting changed in my locker, and I think he walked up behind me one day, and he kind of hit me and shoved me into the lockers, and walked past me to go do whatever he was doing. And that was the day I was kind of starting to get pissed off, and I was like, all right, you know what, I'm just gonna ignore it. Okay, cool. And so we're doing PE, and we got done running the mile or whatever. And so we run the mile, and then we're kind of just having fun doing some activities or whatever. And they blow the whistle first to come back in and change. And so I'm walking back, and he's talking to this other girl, and he was like, oh, blah, blah, let's race or whatever. So all right, cool. So those two are racing, and while I'm walking back, and I don't know how it happened, but I was walking back, and I realized that if they were going to keep running straight, I was going to be directly in the middle of them. They were going to run into me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I started taking my time, I started walking slower, and he started running up, expecting that I was going to move out of the way. But no, I said, fuck that guy. So I shoulder checked him onto the floor, so he's on the floor crying, and I'm like, fuck you. And I just kept walking off, and I went back and, do my own business, and then I got called up to the office, and I got sent home. So, I mean, that was cool.
That was
fuck that guy.
That was a great story, Ambrose.
Yeah,
I was expecting so much more.
When you said, yeah, middle school, speaking of lockers, I was like, did anything happen in my middle school with lockers? And this one kid, Magic Barkman, got his dick stuck in the actual handle of the locker. Fire department had to come get it. Was just this giant Magic he was a fucking dumbass kid. I don't even think he's alive anymore.
Oh my
Did
god.
you ever figure out why his dick was in the hole?
Was he fucking?
His name was Magic.
Wait, his actual legal name was Magic.
Magic.
Oh, speaking of legal names, I went to
I thought you were going to be like, speaking of little dicks.
No,
I mean, if you want to talk about little dicks. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I went to my. I was at my brother's graduation, and they you know how they announce your names or whatever when you walk in, and shake hands and all this stuff. And so, and we're sitting there watching, and this girl goes up, and they announce the name of Promises Last Forever Williams, and I kind of sat there like,
what?
That's her name.
Are you fucking serious? That's her name. Promises
God.
Last Forever Williams, and I was like.
That is
Okay, is Last Forever her middle name?
I think so. The whole
a
thing.
hyphenated middle name,
No,
Promises
it was-
Last Forever Williams.
No, it was literally Promises Last Forever Williams.
So she has multiple names.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. And I kind of sat there. I was like, I feel so sorry.
She has
for her,
to she's gonna go to France, and that's gonna be on her passport. They're gonna be like, really, bitch?
Because we knew a girl in elementary school. Her name was Mai, M-A-I, and her last name was Story.
Oh.
And her middle name was Unique. So her name was My Unique Story.
That's some baby
pretty
back
I think
bullshit.
people should have a license before they breed. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's better than Ladashia.
Or Wraith.
Or a shoal.
There was somebody I saw whose
Or
name.
Braden.
Oh, no. Oh!
God, Dick. Damn it!
I saw this picture of this girl whose name was Erica, but the way they spelled it was Air-Recca.
Yeah, I've seen
And
that.
I was like, what the fuck?
I want to be that white trash someday.
Oh.
God.
Aren't you though?
Oh.
No, that's just my brother.
Oh, that's
That's
true.
true.
So, I mean, I kind of want to tell the story about when I brought a porno to school, because it was
We'll end on Ambrose bringing a porno to school. Let's go.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna set the stage. I was like 10 or something, whatever the fuck age you are when you're in elementary school, right? And so,
Fun fact, Ambrose, you can be multiple ages with going to
Elementary school.
can the age group? Is that better? All right,
That's-
is that
there
more,
you
more
go.
accurate?
Yeah.
Okay, so have you ever seen that football movie called Any Given Sunday?
Yes.
Okay, so do you remember the part when the guy gets hit and his eye pops out?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I remember my dad watching that, and I saw that scene, and I was like, oh shit. And then a little bit later, at this time, when I was looking for the movie, and this is back in the land of VHSs, and I was like, shit. All right, we have a whole like thing of VHS tapes. I'm like, all right, these are all labeled except for these 5. I'm gonna find out which one it is, because I want to watch the movie now. So I'm sitting there with the VHS player, and I'm putting them in. I'm like, okay, well that's not it. To take it out. And I'm going down the list. I get to one of them. And it's just straight up porno. At this time, I'm this little kid. I can't appreciate what I'm watching yet.
Oh, God.
And so I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh, okay. I see what's going on here, but it doesn't do anything. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. My friends would like this. So I take it out. I put it in my backpack. And then the next day, This is how you find out if your friends are really your friends, right? And so, I show my friends, and I was like, yeah, I gave it to friend A, right? So I gave it to him. He goes home and watches the next day. He comes to talk to me about it. He was like, yeah, what do you think about this? And, I didn't really watch it all the way through. I just kind of saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, here's this. And so he's like, oh, yeah, that scene, well, that was pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, blah, 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 I like that one too. And then apparently he told me that he gave it to friend B. And so friend B watched it and was like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, a week later, I get called up to the front office. And I was like, why the fuck am I getting called up to the office? And so, they sit me down and they're like, so, I walk into the office, I see friend A, friend B, and some other kid I didn't even know. And so apparently, when the principal was talking to me, what happened was friend B had one of his friends come over that went to the school. And while he saw it or whatever, this friend that came over to friend B's house saw it, went and told the principal. So friend B got called up to the office. And then friend B said he got it from friend A. So friend A went up to the office, and friend A said he got it from me, and I had to go up to the office. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? There's this whole chain all the way back. Wow. And I was innocent enough to where I walked into the office and my mom was there. She was crying. She was like, "Oh my God, how is this going to affect your future and stuff?" And I'm like, "I don't understand what you mean. What was so bad about this?" And the principal was like, "Yeah, after watching the first 30 seconds of it, what I can clearly tell this is porn." And at first I thought he said corn. I was like, "What the fuck is that? What does that even mean?" And apparently they were setting up to where I had to go to a hearing and all this other stuff. And I was like, I don't even know what's going on.
How are you not a sex offender?
He was 10.
I'm sorry, I'm kidding.
He was whatever age they are in elementary school.
Yeah. So then at that point, I went home. My parents didn't believe me that I found this collection of VHS tapes. I was grounded for a year straight. Couldn't come out of my room except for Christmas.
God.
Where was this collection of VHS tapes?
It was downstairs with the rest of the regular movies that we had.
So your parents didn't believe you that it was in their collection of VHS tapes.
We had it. We had all the Disney movies and stuff and all this other stuff, and there was some that were unmarked, and they were sitting on the shelf, and I was like, all right, cool, that's where I found it. They thought I went into the room and took it from again wherever they keep it in their room. I didn't even know they did that at the time.
So they fucked up, put it in the wrong box. It was in a Cinderella box or something.
Yeah, something like that. But they didn't believe me that I found it in there, and they swear on their life that I lied to them, stole it from their room or
their
whatever.
Their porn stash.
Yeah,
wait though.
Yeah,
you were grounded for a year.
Yeah, so I was literally grounded for a year. Yeah, for lying to my parents.
Oh,
I was
so
grounded.
that's where they get you.
Yeah.
It's not about the action; it's about what you didn't tell us.
Yeah, so they didn't believe me. I was grounded for a year. Could not come out of my room for anything except on Christmas Day to open presents or whatever. And then after I did, I got to play for a couple hours with all the new shit. And then I had to go back to my room. And so I just chilled in there. And then eventually my dad was like, "Yeah, you need to write. I will not steal and I will not lie, to my parents or whatever." 5,000 times I think.
After being grounded for a year.
Yeah, well, in the last half of that year or whatever is when he was like, "You know what? You need to write some sentences." And I was like, I don't fucking know. But the thing that got me was after I was grounded, I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go look for. I'm gonna still try to find that movie, but I'm not gonna take anything to school. Sure enough, one of the other unmarked tapes that I didn't get to was another porno, and I went to my mom. I was like, look, I found this in there. This is another porno, and she was like, oh, and I was like, fuck you. I was so pissed off.
Oh my God.
It's a great ending
that
to
is
you getting revenge for being grounded for a year.
Right?
By finding another porno.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That is the best way I think we could have ended episode 2 of this podcast with our, story time madness. So, these are coming at you guys each week, but we don't want all these topics to be stuff that we come up with on our own. We would love to hear from you, our subscribers, what you think we should talk about next. In the link, wow. And in the description of our videos is a link to our official Twitter page. If you guys want to go ahead and tweet us there and tell us what you think we should talk about next, that would be awesome. Also, you can comment on the most recent podcast we've uploaded, and we'll take a look there and hopefully be talking about some of the topics that you guys want to hear about, so these can be even more interesting for you.
Also, please stay tuned for some vlog video clips that Taylor and I took this morning of us at Airborne. So, yeah.
You'll actually get to see some of us. It's not just going to be voices behind games. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we have to talk about what's coming up this week on the channel.
Yeah, what is coming up this week on the channel?
We have the video of me playing Frogger.
Yeah.
The first episode of Mark Plays Retro Games.
Oh.
Then I played Overwatch for the first time with Taylor and Eric the other night, so you guys will be seeing that footage. It's like kind of a best of moments, which should be hilarious because I did not know what the fuck I was doing when I first started this week.
Fair enough. I think later this week I'll have episode 3 of my Uncharted playthrough, and then Chloe and I are gonna get together and we're gonna play Firewatch.
Aww.
It'll be a nice, enjoyable game.
Couples play.
Yeah,
Couples
a
play.
yeah,
Couples play.
Couples.
she'll be the player 6, the 6th player.
6 play.
For this week. Yeah.
Taylor, what do you have?
I'm hoping maybe me and Mark play some more Resident Evil. And
Yes.
then me and Ambrose are also going to play some more Resident Evil.
Oh,
Nice.
Resident Evil 5.
5.
Ooh.
The
Different
fifth one.
Resident Evil.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a different one.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so.
I have episode 2 of Inside, my Inside Let's Play. That'll be up. I might even throw that up Monday with the podcast, just to change up a little bit. If we have quite a bit of stuff now,
Yeah.
but we'll figure that out.
Mm.
But yeah, that'll be coming this week as well, and then hopefully I can do a Civ thing with at least Taylor and Ambrose, and anyone else wants to do it.
Yep, and then
Right.
maybe next week or something like that we can play golf with friends because I think that'll
Golf?
be fun.
Golf with friends will definitely have to happen.
Might
Yeah.
play some Jackbox
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely could play some Jackbox.
Yeah.
or a screen sheet
Screen cheat is
Lots of fun party games.
Yeah. So
game.
Oh,
Right.
if you guys have an idea for games for us to play, you should comment
Yeah.
it down below or tweet at us to let us know because I think that'd be fun.
Definitely.
very special thank you to Chloe for being here this week.
And for stabbing a bitch.
Yeah,
Keeping it real,
for
kindergarten.
being honest with us, thank you. You're not grounded for a year.
As always, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and share this wonderfulness that is this podcast with your friends. We'll see you guys next week.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.
Something about sucking dick.
Oh.